Voila, ladies and gentlemen, it's another wonderful Tuesday evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another Mental Health Tuesday. This is the 53rd session since we started. Every week, every Tuesday, every 8 p.m., we are here discussing matters of mental health and relational well-being. We know we are surrounded by people who are dying. We are surrounded by people who are managing weighty things on the mental health arena. We are doing this so that we are able to learn, we are able to share, and who knows, we may be able to save some lives. Those who hear this conversation and they're able to make use of it and share with other people around them. We do not know the number of people that you are keeping alive because of this Mental Health Tuesday. So let's keep talking, let's keep engaging. Today, we are traversing very special waters. We want to discuss expectations. And the topic is stop being killed by the weight of expectations. And we have no one better to take us through this than Dan Sonko. The previous session that Dan Sonko was on this session was a wonderful, wonderful presentation. We are hoping for even a better one. Dan, what do you think? Please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. You're already putting a weight of expectation on me. Basis my past performance. And but thank you. And good evening to everyone in attendance. So I'm not sure, Banali, should I pick it up and just speak my mind right now, or do you want to hold off?
Just a minute. As we introduce this topic, I want to give Dan the tether to run around, but it will be very meaningful if you can share your experiences, ladies and gentlemen. You may raise your hand when Dan stops to speak so that we can hear your experiences on the weight of expectations that you are carrying. But you may also write on the call chat your observations, maybe your own personal experiences, or what you've had episodes, so that we are able to connect what Dan is presenting with real life situations. Dan, you can take over as I look forward to more sharing by the call chat.
Okay, thank you so much, Ali. And once again, good evening to you all. For those who have been in this session before where I was in, I'll start with my usual style of giving a vote of thanks. I like breaking protocol and giving thanks first, because even when we are eating, we give thanks before we eat. So I'd like to give thanks to the entire SambaSports Youth Agenda team, and more especially Mohammed Ali here and Mwanaisha Kuania, who I've seen online, I believe, and also to each and every person who has taken their time to come online this evening. As Ali has rightfully stated, this is my second invitation to the Mental Health Tuesday talks, and I must have made an impact in edition 47 in order to warrant another appearance in this 53rd edition. Thank you. Thank you for entrusting me with the honor and task of speaking before you all. Now, let's stop suffering under the weight of expectations is my topic this evening. And by your presence here, there's definitely something you expect from me. It is my hope that in this time we have together, we'll be able to learn, demystify, understand, and appreciate our individual journeys in this life. So, to start us off, what is the definition of expectations? A quick Google search will tell you that an expectation is a strong belief that something will happen or be the case, or even that you'll get something that you want, okay? And if you went further and searched for weight of expectations, still on Google, you'll find it. And it is defined as a negative form of pressure to succeed that acts to impair performance rather than improve it. Now, let's put all the textbook definitions aside and address this topic from a different perspective. Walk with me, and let's view an expectation as a cup that needs to be filled. Okay? Let's keep that in mind. Let's address this from the inside out. From my experiences, and hopefully you can mirror them to yours. I will urge each one of you to allow yourself to be completely vulnerable and true to yourself and your situation as I proceed from this point. For those who are present for the edition 47, when I spoke of the power of hope, like Ali had indicated, there's a takeaway hashtag that I left guys with. Would anyone remember? There's a hashtag that I left you with last time. In order to save, sorry?
This too shall pass.
Spot on. Hey, we have very good students here. This too shall pass. Now, the truth is, we cannot avoid the weight of expectations. That is the honest truth. For this to sink in, allow me to give you my takeaway hashtag for today. Hashtag trust the process. Do we have that? Trust the process. To achieve anything we hope for, there has to be a process involved. This process may involve joy, pain, laughter, crying, gains, losses. It can have anything and everything. And in the end, there'll still be an outcome. When I speak of the inside out, this is representative of internal expectations and external expectations. More often than not, we fall victim to external expectations, which in all honesty are other people's projections of us as opposed to our own. I'll pick up from something, Ali, you mentioned in your opening remarks of someone who earns 20,000 and someone else is wondering, why can't you do A, B, C, D? That is that other person's projection. That is the external expectation that I'm talking about. So we find that we fall victim to that external expectation. Let's take a couple of examples that I believe could have led us to develop the type of mindset that we sometimes struggle with. And you'll notice in most of my talks and discussions, I like highlighting on mindset because a lot of what we are starts from the kind of conditioning that we have. Remember, there's a phrase that says, what you think you are. So whatever mental, social conditioning that you have grown up with ultimately affects how you do what you do. So we have all been through school. Now, apart from those who are currently in medical school like KMTC, for the most part, we have all been subjected to wearing school uniform. Okay? This is a rule that every school-going child abides by. You are expected to dress a certain way, failure to which you are sent home or disciplinary action is taken against you. If there's any personality that you would express through dress, forget about it. It is supposed to be, it is actually suppressed for conformity purposes. Get in line, get with the program. And for this particular one, I really respect those who turn out to be fashion designers because somehow they overcame that conditioning. Let's leave the school setup and begin life now after school. Most external expectations await us. There's pressure to move out of the family home, for example, to start fending for yourself. Even those who have the opportunity to fend while within the comfort of their family find themselves insisting on moving out in order to fit certain norms. Ile peer pressure. In fact, I could term peer pressure as a form of external expectation that we pile on ourselves. From moving out, there's the pressure to get married. After getting married, there's the pressure to have children. After having children, there's the pressure to, hold up, pause, breathe. Now, you remember when I asked that you allow yourself to be completely vulnerable and true to yourself. Looking back at your own life's journey, how many of the decisions and moves you have made were as a result of your own process and directions and not of anything on the outside? There's a big difference in living up to your own expectations and living up to the expectations of others. This is where my definition of expectations as a cup comes in. There's no way you can pour into another cup if your own cup is empty. A burnt out candle cannot light up another one unless it has a flame. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I would like you to completely do away with living up to the expectations of others. Release that weight completely. That is an empty cup that you are trying to pour into from your own empty cup. This will only get you frustrated, it will get you confused and defeated, all because you have taken an external depiction of who you are as your absolute truth. Back to the topic, in case I have digressed. Let's stop suffering under the weight of expectations. Now, we've handled one weight, external. Let's come in. Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when no one is listening? When I look at you, do I see the real you, or do you find yourself wearing a mask, trying to put up with some image? Are you comfortable in your own skin? Are you happy and content with who you are on your journey? These are a few direct questions that I would urge you to ponder on. There are more, but I cannot exhaust all of them in one sitting. These are meant to bring the focus from the outside to the inside. To solve the problem requires drilling down to the root cause, and it all starts from within. It all begins with acceptance and willingness. But, and this is the most important but, all this has to be on a foundation of truth. You need to be true to yourself and true to your circumstances for you to actually start enjoying life and start working out through this so-called suffering of expectations. Take time to define yourself for yourself. This is where I found journaling to have played a very big role for me. Journaling meaning writing. I write, I have a notebook where I write. For those who follow me on social media, I'm known for what are called long post alerts, random musings. And it's not something that I started last year. It's not something that I started during the pandemic. It's not even something I started in 2017. I can date back my online long post alerts to as far back as 2012. That's 10 years ago. I have penned a lot. And in my journaling, whether it is online or offline, I can look back, I can read, and I'm able to define myself. I can be able to chart a pattern. So who are you? What drives you? What are your fears? What are your dreams? Armed with this, what are your aspirations? Where are you currently? Whether it is socially, professionally, financially, spiritually, mentally, Muhammad Ali, whatever Ali, where are you? Be as brutally honest with yourself as possible when doing this. Now, my better half, my best friend, my spouse, my partner, Winnie Bwire, has a phrase that I borrowed that goes like, and I'm sure you've seen it somewhere, starve your distractions and feed your focus. The focus being you.
Wow.
And two of the biggest distractions you need to starve are comparison and competition. Comparison and competition. They are good for leveraging, but detrimental when it is taken as a benchmark. You can never take the next step if you do not know where your footing is. This exercise aims to help you find your footing. Once you acknowledge and accept where you are, a roller coaster ride awaits you before the magic happens. And I say that because you'll get a lot of fulfillment in the end, but it's like starting a new garden. You need to go and weed. You need to go and burn bushes. You'll meet pests, you'll meet snakes. That is the roller coaster I'm talking about before the magic happens. This roller coaster requires dedication, commitment, and resolve. Because after all, you're literally shedding off dead weight. Acceptance ought to go beyond self to possible outcomes of that which we hope to achieve. By this, I mean we may meet desired expectations, both internal and external, which is awesome. But there's also the likelihood of not meeting those expectations. What should help keep the weight off is the fact that you are true. Remember the foundation I told you? What should help keep the weight off is the fact that you are true to yourself, true to your situation, true to the circumstances around you. And most importantly, you gave it your best with whatever was available to you. And I'll stress on whatever was available to you, because someone would say, we'll always look for excuses. It's the money, it's the people. Don't look at the shortcomings. Look at what tools you have available to you and make the best of them. Pain is part of the process. Bodybuilders are known for the phrase, no pain, no gain. Seeds, for those who plant, even those who don't, but you have an idea. Seeds need to break before they sprout. Eggs need to crack for chicks to hatch. There's always a process towards an outcome. So in closing, so that I can also open up room for interaction, the weight of expectations will always be there, but with the right mindset, we are able to carry it gracefully and enjoy the journey. So I'd like to close it at that point to welcome questions so that we can be able to discuss where need be. But that is it from me for now. Asante.
Thank you very much, Dan Sonko. As always, you never disappoint. I think I have quite a number of Facebook posts. But for those, my Facebook posts, especially those who make me look like I'm a sage. I'm not a sage. I just steal from people like Dan. Sawa, asante. Labda tufungue uwanja. Who wants to say something? Do you have a feedback? Or do you have a piece of feedback? Do you want to share your experience in terms of expectation? Are you dying of expectation that you need help? So we have Nuri who wants to go first. You can raise your hand, or you can write on the call chat, and we can still reach out to you. Nuri, please take it away.
Thank you, Mohammed. I think for the benefit of other people who are not conversant with the English language, you should allow me to use the Kiswahili language so that everyone is able to benefit from this conversation. Sure. Nadhani mengi yamezungumzwa kutokamana na yale matarajio ambayo tunajiwekea mazito kabisa, na mara nyingi huwa yanatuumiza, yanatuleta chini sana. Kwa hiyo kitu ambacho nitakiongezea kabisa katika mazungumzo ambayo Dan ameyaleta hapa ni swala zima la kuwa na imani. Na dini zote mbili sana sana hapa Kenya ambazo zimetawala zinatuhimiza sana katika mambo ya imani. na si ile imani ambayo mara nyingi tunaitafsiri kwamba ni kumwonea mtu huruma ama kumfanyia wema. Nazungumzia imani ya kwamba unakuwa mambo yako umeyaweka katika mikono ya Mwenyezi Mungu. Kwa hiyo katika kila jambo wewe unakuwa unaamini kwamba haya yote yanatokea katika maisha yangu, lakini Mwenyezi Mungu mwenyewe ameyapanga yawe hivi. Kwa hiyo ni kwamba maisha yako unaishi, lakini ukijua kabisa moyo wako msafi kabisa, haubebi mazito, ukijua kabisa haya Mwenyezi Mungu ndiye amepangia. Kwa hiyo aidha iwe nimesoma, nimepata shahada yangu ya udaktari nini, lakini sijafanikiwa kimaisha, ukumbuke imani yako ikuelekeze kwamba Mwenyezi Mungu ndiye amekupangia haya. Kwa hiyo usiruhusu maoni ya mtu mwingine kukuelekeza kwamba kadari yako kwa Mwenyezi Mungu amekupangia ni hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi. Nadhani wengi tumeruhusu hilo kufanyika katika maisha yetu. Ndio alizungumza Bwana Dan kwamba the external pressure ambayo tunaipata na expectations from other people. Kwa hiyo yale tunasahau kabisa kwamba Mwenyezi Mungu ametupangia maisha yetu tofauti, kwamba wewe njia yako itakuwa ina mabonde, ina nini, kitambofikia success yako, na mwingine yake imewekwa tu njia moja kwa moja iliyonyooka. Kwa hiyo mimi nitasisitiza kwamba kikubwa zaidi tuwe na ile imani, tuamini kabisa kwamba Mwenyezi Mungu ndiye anapanga haya maisha na kila mmoja anamwekea njia yake. Kwa hiyo yote, lakini kumbuke ni Mungu ambaye. Kwa hiyo imani tuwe nayo katika nyoyo zetu na kuamini katika kudra zake za Mwenyezi Mungu, tujiekee hilo. Nadhani ikiwa wengi tutaadopt that mentality, hatutakuwa na ile wasiwasi wa kutaka kufulfill pressure ambazo tunazipata kutoka kwa watu wengine. Asanteni sana.
Nuri Amani. Dan, una kitu cha kusema kabla tuende kwa brother Mukhtar Ogle alafu tuende kwa Agala Mbone?
Mimi namunga mkono kabisa Nuri, hasa katika masuala ya imani, kumweka Mungu mbele, na tusisahau kuwa katika hii kwa lugha ya Kimombo wanasema human race. Ule mfano ningetumia ni kama michezo ya Olimpiki. Katika mchezo wa Olimpiki kuna ile 100 meter sprint. Ukiangalia katika hayo mashindano, kila mtu ako na lane yake. Lengo ya wengi ni kushinda, lakini kimaisha lengo ni umalize vizuri. Ukishinda sawa, usiposhinda sawa pia. Ni nini umejifunza katika hiyo katika hilo shindano? Baki katika line yako, kuwa na imani, zile tools uko nazo, ile nguvu uko nayo, umejaliwa nayo, hiyo ndio itakupropel wewe. Ukiangalia mwenzako akikushinda mwaka huu, Olympics zinafanywa baada ya kila miaka 4. Nenda ujitahidi, urudi ulingoni, lakini sio kukufa moyo kwa sababu ya wengine, la. So shukran sana Nuru kwa wazo hilo, and next time maybe I should mix Kiswahili as well. I've noted that kwa Kizungu kilikuwa kingi.
Nuri amekufanya umwagike kabisa kwa Kiswahili, which you are all that. Asante. Ukipeana mfano wa Olimpiki ni kwamba zile mbio za masafa marefu kama marathon zinakuwa na watu zaidi ya 1000 wanaingia, lakini ujue nambari moja ya mmoja peke yake. Sasa wewe unge kwenye kundi zima hilo na uwe unalazima wewe ndio uwe namba moja na hata una mazoezi ya kutosha. Hapo ndo naambiwa kata nguo kulingana na size yako. Brother Mukhtar Ogle, what a pleasure again. Take it away.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My Kiswahili is disastrous, so I'll focus on English. This is a very timely conversation and very useful, but I would like to contextualize within our county and rural environments where many of these multiple challenges are taking place. We all acknowledge that globalization and rapid technological changes have caused multiple shocks within our communities, beyond our personal, family, household expectations. So if you contextualize this in a rural community where there are about so many young standard 8 graduates, Form 4 graduates from our university, the expectations for self, for the household, for the family, for the community is immense. So I would like to focus our case analysis on that scenarios. Then the question remains, how do we deal with uncertainties when you have finished school or college and university? How do you facilitate a strategic response in the face of failed internal and external expectations, as Dan has mentioned? While I will not want to don't want to belabor the trends and the depth of the challenges we face, it's important to manage expectations. One, by forging strong ties within family, within the household, within the community, like what Mohammed is doing and SambaSports are doing. Two, we need to have very realistic, we need to set very clear and realistic expectations. You don't finish Form 4 and you want to be the county director for procurement. We also need to promote your ideas and consistently think through. In the Harvard Business School, they say the art of managing up is one about the self. It's only when you self-manage yourself is then when you can be of latent value to your family, to your community, and to your household. We must understand our priorities and the depth of the pressures that we face as young people, or even as a couple, or even as a father, or even as a mother, or even as a counselor. We need to be very realistic in how we do at the level of the family and household expectations against the fluid reality on the ground. Wanasema Muhammad tells me, kwa ground mambo si ni, what is it? Kiswahili.
Kwa ground vitu ni different.
Aha. So that ground reality is the burdensome difficulty, the hostile environment, operating environment, that you want a job, but jobs do not come easy. Yeah. Many of our young people want to be in offices and in ties when they also leave the famine to our families, our elderly people. So they want us to be to feed us. Fourthly, navigating your latent potential in the context of the expectation of your family, or even your boss at the workplace, or a deeper expectation of the community because of your education, because of your expertise, your exposure, to fix the dehumanizing impact of poverty in our rural communities. Those expectations are very legitimate. Mohamed umesoma, Dan umesoma, lakini kule vijiji, our young people are so hopeless. They have become drug zombies. There is no hope. So for community to expect you to fix that is legitimate na ni haki. What do? You need to provide alternative livelihoods. But again, there is a growing pressure of social media, which exaggerates in framing of some of these issues. You are Dan, you are Mohammed, you can't be me, I can't be you. If you compare, that is the beginning of frustrations. Finally, we need to enumerate our challenges. And as young people, we must establish a household or family dialogue. If I take the example of the Olympic, let's say 100 meters, each guy on that lane has come and qualified. Each of them expects to win, but only one wins. Or the other one takes second, the other one third. The difference is in their planning. The difference is in their mindset. The difference is in their attitude. The difference is how they plan to manage their risks of running. The difference is their diet, where they sleep, how they rest. And you can't have it easy because in system-based thinking, they say they are the elements, they are the functions and the purposes. Once you identify those and identify how the element determines the function and the function determines the outcome, you are at home. We must therefore be adept at our good risk handling. We must plan better to make effective decisions. Effective decisions do not come. You must think through. More important than everything, we must pray. We must pray. You must pause and reflect. If the family is in deep poverty, what can we do? When you collectively put your ideas together, and this does not need English, my friend. You don't have to speak English or to be a graduate to fix the problems of the family. Wisdom resonates across the family. the future is being futuristic. Beyond our religious optimism, we must be very practical. It's good to be religious, it's good to be faithful, but we must be very practical. They say our thoughts shape our action. How you think is how it makes the difference. Thinking makes leaders different from the others. And the cardinal rule to be a good thinker is to read, share experiences, learn from others. Don't just listen to reggae, but listen, you read and see how we can change our communities. Be an applied futurist. Kukula veve na bangi will not solve the problem. The problem will be there again tomorrow. Think through. Ati niko na mawazo, lazima ni ati unatoa lock. Now, you need to be very healthy, first of all, for you to think through. We must think about your future, alternative future scenarios. In strategic scenario planning, you visualize. Visualize leadership is that you want to marry. You can't dream by just dreaming to marry. You must do what it takes for you to marry and to maintain a household. And every person has what it takes. You don't have to speak English. You don't have to be a university graduate. Wisdom resonates across our communities in our villages. Finally, for us to overcome the dehumanizing and biting poverty in our villages and in our households, we must focus on what matters as a family. And also as a family change driver, whether you are a man, whether you are a woman, whether you are the young girl, you must focus on what matters for a better life. Go with the flow, but be a disruptive voice. You cannot make poverty your heritage, and you can improve it. And the people of Kwale and SambaSports, you are doing good work. And I hope the young people who are listening to us from today become those change drivers. Consult, make groups, harmonize your strategies and ideas, and make a difference in your household and in your community. Wabillahi tawfiq.
You've just done it again. Standing ovation. Daktari Mukhtar Ogle always adds lots of value to the platform. Asante sana daktari, na Mungu akubariki kwa hiyo wisdom. Usiondoke, utuachie sisi hiyo mkoba, ukijua unaenda niletee. We'll go to
what does that mean in that case? I don't know what you have said. Unataka niongee bahali yake, so but you say what you mean.
Alikuwa anasema usiondoke na hiyo mkoba yote ukaenda nayo bure iharibike. Iachie vijana kama sisi tutumie. Hiyo mkoba ni muhimu sana. The wisdom is effervescent.
Indeed. And learning, we learn. Learning, life is a lifelong learning, and we learn from each other. Nobody has the monopoly of wisdom. Even this engagement, why I'm very regular, is because I take significant takeaways, which helps me myself and the work I do. Thank you very much.
Asante. Tutaenda kwa Agala Mbone, alafu Mheshimiwa Nuru Omar, alafu kwa Director Hassan Maeneo. Huyu Director Hassan Maeneo niseme yeye anafanya kazi na watu tunauliza sisi tangu aanze kufanya kazi kule aliajiri watu wangapi? Kama ambaye ukishaanza kufanya kazi tayari kampuni ni yako, lakini hilo labda atalijibu yeye mwenyewe baadaye. Agala Mbone. Hi, Agala Mbone, are you ready, or we go to Mheshimiwa Nuru? Okay. Nuru Omar, please.
Can I talk now?
Yes, you can. Karibu.
Output. Hey, I can't hear myself.
If we can hear you,
I don't know. Yes, it's working.
We can hear you very properly now.
Oh, amazing. Asante sana Ben and Mohammed and Dan and Mukhtar. It is difficult to talk after Mukhtar has said something. But I am so privileged to be in this space. Kwa sababu number one, when men are spearheading healing and reconciliation agenda, this is a plus. Recently, nimealikwa to MC for International Day of the Girl Child. Sasa nikauliza hawa organizers, do you have something for the boy child on this particular day? And this was just like a provoking question. I wanted to understand, where is the space of a boy child kwa all this? And they say, no, this is very specific. It is International Day of the Girl Child. Now we can't mix issues. Nikawaambia, tunaendelea support women empowerment na girl child. Tunasahau kuna mtu ambaye atakuja kuishi na huyu super empowered woman in the same house as a wife. I know, number one, kuna conversation that is going on somewhere that is very special and is very unique. Tangu lini nikasikia wanaume wamekaa chini wanaongea maneno yao, hii maneno ya early marriage. You tembea in the informal settlement, somebody is 16 years old, akona girlfriend akona mimba, yeye mwenyewe hana kazi, mtoto akizaliwa hivi ndo huyo ameingia kwa madawa, and you're like, how will the life of this young person end up? That is something I'm really picking. Alafu pia I'm picking the frustration yenye community inaweka kwa mwanaume and the expectation, you know. As a woman, kama niko frustrated, I'm allowed kudakwa na mwanamke mwenzangu, I'm feeling this, I'm allowed to cry. Hata sometimes I'm allowed to dump it on my husband or my boyfriend. But where is the space of a young man who is frustrated and stressed in life in this community? I appreciate. Leo sitaongea sana, nimeguswa tu nikasema nitakuja, lakini I have Ben who likes saying, until we stop looking at young people as problems to be solved, we will never ever get to where we really want to be as a society. Usione tu wanaume kama mashida, wanaume pia ni wa muhimu, na kuna ile kitu mwanaume analeta, Mungu alimpatia wisdom yake yenye mimi kama mwanamke sina na siwezi. I'll finish with the Muhammad once told me, I was in a meeting with him last year, and he was working for Search then, and Moha says, if you want to be a manager tomorrow, act as one today. Leo hii wewe jifanye kama manager. Sasa ile manager ikikuja haikushtui. Even though we used to men as managers, we are now calling on all of us. Kama unataka kuwa manager, to reduce the pressure ya ule ni manager ama ule ni PA wa MC ama wa MP. Expectation yetu yote tunaiweka hapo, hapana. I am thrilled. I am happy. Hapa sitawahi kosa, Mwenyezi Mungu akinijalia uhai.
Wow. What a testimony. Asante sana Gala Mbone, asante sana. Na ni kweli, kama ulianza act kama manager mwaka jana tulipokutana, labda sasa hizi ungekuwa ushakuwa manager Gala. Don't lie on, don't sleep on that opportunity. Yeah, asante. Tutaenda kwa Madam President Nuru Omar, alafu tuende kwa director Hassan Maeneo. Na Madam President tunaambia ameajiri watu wangapi kwa kijiji chake, maana yake ako na kazi nzuri. Nuru.
Leo umetuamulia. Sisi bado ni hustlers bwana. We are still bottoming before we get to the up. But we've tried to also do a lot of interventions, and I think we'll have an opportunity to share that. First, I really want to appreciate this platform and what it has been able to achieve, even in the times that I've not been actively able to log into the meetings. I've seen your activities, obviously. From where I sit from, I'm able to envision from a bird eye view of some of those progresses that you guys are making to the community. And it's very appealing, very encouraging. And I'd wish that you continue to do the same. For today, I didn't want to say so much, but let me divert to our local language so that I can be understood in very simple terms. Vitu ambavyo mwanadamu anavihitaji kwa umuhimu havizidi kiganja chako cha mkono ukivihesabu. There are never more than 5 things that you need for you to live life the way you're supposed to live it. This world was not meant for man to come here and suffer. But ujuaji na kuweza kujifananisha na vitu kama vile mwongeaji amesema, usually expectations become weighty when you start looking at yourself from the perspective of the people around you and what they think. So when you're trying to match us to the perception of your father, even when your father is very toxic, because this is now the reality of life, those are the dynamics that most of us come from. You sit in a situation where everybody you see around you thinks anything that is negative is superstition. Now, if you want to impress them more than you want to live your own life, you find yourself in the middle of a lot of expectations that you probably will not be able to meet. So vitu wewe just go back to the drawing board, sit alone, jiite mkutano. Jiambie vitu ambavyo unavihitaji muhimu, nuru ni nini, ambavyo ni muhimu tu vya kufanya wewe kesho asubuhi uione bila kuwa na msongo wa mawazo. You need food. If you can afford that, say alhamdulillah, put that aside. You need a good shelter. If you can afford some place to live, you're good enough. You need at least to have a source of income. It doesn't matter what. We are not in a world of competing incomes. It is supposed to be something that allows you to find the nutritional value to survive. It's that simple. So if you can meet your dietary needs, well and good, take that out. If you can be able to walk, talk to people, and even sit on a mat and pray and meditate, that's also a plus. So if you count the things that actually you require for you to have a wholesome life, they don't get more than 5. However, now, when you start thinking, the dress that I'm wearing needs a better quality, now you start worrying about where you'll start finding fabrics, or you realize they're expensive, or the fundi that you need must come from I don't know which land. You have increased expectations that probably you might not be able to meet. You are suffocating yourself with things that are above your capabilities. Now you're causing yourself a lot of stress, unnecessary. And I can be sure if we were all going to that basic knowledge of what life expects us to have, then most of us would not be in a position where we are worried. Because what expectations from external forces add into your life is a lot of worry. And worry is something even Muslims know. We pray over it day and day. We even ask God to allow your heart to not be worried all the time, because worry is where everything begins. Worry is what will make you think the devil is haunting your whole family and your lineage is cursed. Worry is the reason why people enter into very weird goons. Worry is the reason people go into drugs, because they cannot fathom cleansing up their thoughts and thinking through solutions that are very practical. So try to avoid worry by just thinking of the things that are important in your life. And expectations are usually difficult when you start wanting to impress anybody. When you start wanting to over-impress your wife, you lose your spot as a husband. When you start wanting to over-impress your husband, forgetting your roles, you will lose your space. You'll become a very depressed wife. You'll be overthinking what is not actually supposed to be overthought. When you want to overthink your roles as a child, you make your life very difficult. Do your part, appreciate that this is what I'm supposed to do. Anything extra, if it is in your capacity, yes. If it is not, don't worry about it. Because people will always have something to negate. They'll have something to point fingers at. You are not unique, whatever you think you're going through. I'm sure if we are to call a world meeting, in the billions that we are, there's probably a billion who can share that experience. So don't overbulge yourself with information, with expectations, with reasoning that you do not have control over. What is not in your control, let it go. Some things you can solve. If you can solve it, time has a way of taking care of situations that you cannot solve. So God didn't bring you here to suffer. That is the basic take home that most of you here, I want us to be able to share. You are not here to suffer. The things that you need to actually live a humble, grounded life do not get above 5 items on one of your palms, so you can count. Ukiona zimezidi 5, ujue umejiongezea kitu ambacho hukihitaji wewe. It is unnecessary. So that's all I wanted to say today. So thank you so much for the time.
Asante sana Madam President. Dan Sonko, umetusaidia. Tumepata one of our next presenters tayari. Before nikupatie Dan uweze pia, kuna dada Yvonne Gashe amesema journaling is good, lakini je kama mtu atakuja kustumble into your journal alafu aisome, how do you recover? Lakini kabla ujibu hilo, ningependa kumpatia director wetu Hassan Mbondo atubashirie vitu viwili vitatu, alafu tukuregeshe kwako Dan Sonko.
Good evening. I hope mnanisikia.
Vizuri tu sana.
I'll do a cocktail of English and Swahili to do justice to Bwana Mukhtar. He has given us so much wisdom, but we are turning our little wisdom in Swahili, and he wants also to have some takeaway. I'm taking this opportunity as a director, SambaSports.
It is only my spoken Kiswahili which is poor. This other one I'm good. Naongea ya amo.
I want to thank our main presenter, Bwana Dan, for the insight. Very fruitful, very encouraging. And the various speakers who have come along. I want to share my little wisdom about expectations. And this is just to echo and also maybe to give more weight to the presentation. One, I think we have to understand that since the time of coming into this world, let me use that language, I think expectations started from the creation point of view. So we cannot move away from expectation. It started from the creation. God created the universe, and the belongings, whatever it is in this universe, with an expectation. He's expecting us to do something for him. He's expecting us to pray. He's expecting everything that is in this universe is more of expectations. But the big question here will be, how do we deal with these expectations? We can go all the way to be a professor, but the ultimate goal for those who are religious, whether Muslim, Hindu, Christian, or whatever, is either to go to heaven or to go to hell. That's an expectation. And most of us expect to go to heaven. We go back to Bwana Mukhtar. How actions, beliefs, what you gather as resources towards that expectation is what matters. And this expectation, you should also understand that give it a corporate value, give it a corporate content, give it a corporate life where expectations are reviewed. We have strategic plans which are continuously reviewed, because you can have an expectation based on the current environment that you have. But in the next morning, the environment changes completely, hindering to achieve that desired expectations. So we should always be ready to change so that we make our life easier to achieve those expectations. Because the world is all about expectations. We cannot move away from that. Even Madam President, it's wrong to speak after Madam President, but she gave us an opportunity to do so. Madam President is talking about worry. Why are you worried? First place, you should ask ourselves, why are we worried? We are worried because we fear that maybe we won't achieve what we think we should be achieving. In other words, we are saying we are worried of our expectations. We just worried about our expectations. In whatever language, maybe we want to bring it out, it's all about expectations. Do not always, and expectations do not always correspond with reality. Now that's where the problem comes in. So if the expectations do not correspond to our reality, then let's give a chance to review our expectations. When we do the review, it limits, and now it brings us to come up with the reality expectations. When we have reality expectations, according to our environment, there is likelihood of achieving those expectations. So as we go and read our books that you have to be a millionaire at 30, But who said that? And what environment was he in at that moment you're saying that? So don't expect a Kinango person to be a millionaire at 30. But he can be given an environment to have expectation of having achieved a net worth of 20K, at 30. So expectations in this world cannot be avoided, but how we are going to manage those expectations and creating room for review so that we can meet those expectations, I think we will be going in the right directions. So, Bwana Machausa, don't expect to go to heaven, but you don't want to do what will make you achieve that expectation. If you don't do it, you will go where you are not expected, and that is hell. That is where now Dan will tell you you are in distress. Your mental health will be all those things. I'm talking about the extreme end, but now you can domesticate it at our level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hiyo ni speech ya director. Hiyo nilikuwa ni closing remarks before Dan aendelee. Asante sana. Over to you, Dan. I know our time is up, but you have a token because you are the main speaker. If you choose, please say something to Yvonne's question. If someone reads your journal, how do you recover and start again? And many more words that you have to finish.
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, I'll be very honest. I believe session number 53 should have had 3 faces on that poster, because from the words of Dr. Mukhtar, Mheshimiwa Nuru, I mean, they are keynote speakers in themselves, and I was really, really, really impressed. Going quickly to Yvonne's question, this is I'll term it as a fear. You've already projected a fear of what might happen. What I'll tell you is start journaling. Don't worry about if someone finds it, what will happen. If someone finds it, again, I'll go back to something I talked about, mental conditioning and mental constructs. Personally, there's something that I have had to unlearn. And my unlearning has been with regard to secrets, siri. Zile vitu ambazo tunasema ati ni siri yako ya ndani. Believe it or not, those things that you call secrets are also weights for you. More so if those secrets are external, because you don't know why whoever is giving you a secret is giving it to you for. Kumbuka, at the end of this journey, mwisho hii safari ni kifo, ni mauti. Uchi wako utaonekana at the end. So if whatever you're journaling is true to yourself, about yourself, no one can use it against you. In fact, in this era of technology where people say someone can steal your identity, I'm of a totally different mindset. But that's a discussion for a different time. So to answer you directly, start journaling. Ikipotea, ni sawa, guess what? No one can adjust you. But you will have a clearer picture of who you are. I have lost a book once. Mpaka leo sijui hicho kitabu kimeenda wapi. But I am not worried, because whatever I wrote in there is utmost truth, and I've never hidden it from anyone. To close, because I know we are out of time, when we talk of expectations, I also like relating expectations to risk. Watu ambao wako biashara, high risk, high return. So you higher your expectation, more likely the heavier the burden. So it depends. Umeketi hapo sasa hivi, what are you expecting? Or what are your aspirations? Mimi lengo langu liko kiwango fulani. It will take so much more effort to get there. If you are content with where you are, that is also okay. Lakini remember, like the marathon, like the sprint, we all have different competencies. But at the end of the day, we help each other along in the journey. I'll close it with not everyone can be Eliud Kipchoge. Now let's go to the marathon. Tutaenda watu watashindana, lakini mshindi ni mmoja, Eliud Kipchoge. Lakini do you know Eliud Kipchoge on his own is not a champion without people like, for example, do you know there's one gentleman, an old mzungu mzee, I think he's in his 60s. He's the person who's responsible of giving Eliud Kipchoge ile maji ya kunywa. And if you do your research, you'll find out, huwa ikianza, he's already at the first water point. Kwa mkono ako na stika karatasi imeandikwa Kipchoge na ameshikilia chupa. When Kipchoge approaches, anachukua hiyo maji, you can see the joy in the old man's face. Then he goes on his bicycle, rides very quickly past Kipchoge to the next water point, akimsubiria. Guess what? He is part of that win. But that is his role in that journey. So please, katika hii safari yetu ya maisha, let's focus first on yourself, focus on what you have achieved, appreciate, like what Mheshimiwa has said, go to the basic needs. There's a long post I wrote about food, shelter, clothing. Zile vitu tulifundishwa. As long as you have a roof over your head, as long as your stomach you are fed, everything else, plan towards it. And it is very unfortunate, Dr. Mukhtar talked about technology in this digital age. I call it the microwave generation, because we are breeding an offspring of people who are used to instant messaging through WhatsApp. Wao wanajua ukiandika message anaangalia pale aone blue tick. Meanwhile, sisi ni wale tukiwa shule tulikuwa tunaandika barua. Barua unaweka kwa envelope, unaweka stamp, hauko sure kama itafika. Unasubiri mpaka upate jibu lako, hauko sure kama utapata jibu. We understand the process of waiting. Unfortunately, the society that we have today dreams of instant success, instant riches. That is also a killer. So we need to go back, like Mukhtar is saying, and empower our communities, empower our families. But it starts with ourselves. So nitafungia kwa hapo, sina mengi. I'm always available to talk. I have public face-to-face interactions. I have a group whom we are doing what is called, I'm actually trying to write a book called My Last Approach to Life. And LAST is an acronym for LAST, learning, applying, sharing, and teaching. Because that's what I believe my purpose and mission in life is. I learn, from whatever I learn, I apply, then I share it, and I also teach. Because at the end of the day, it's not the things that you have amassed that matter most. It is the impact that you make. I'm part of a group, a club called the Rotary Club, and they talk about service above self. And that, to me, is key in everything that you do. Usijiangalie wewe binafsi. It's more than just you. You are here for yourself, and also to be a flower in that garden, kuinua watu wengine. The last one, still on the Rotary Club, that is where I also draw my foundation. They have what is called the 4-way test. The 4-way test basically says, it asks 4 questions. Is it the truth? Is it beneficial to all concerned? Is it fair? Will it bring better friendship and goodwill? These are tenets, these are foundations that if you can use them in your daily life, and I tell people, kama uko kazini, if you're privileged enough to have a job and you're working, the same principles you apply in your job of accountability, of due diligence, whatever guiding principles that there are at your workplace, apply them in your life and in the lives of those around you. It will make a big difference. So, yeah, thank you so much. Yes, President Rotarian in the house representing Rotary Club of Mombasa. Asanteni sana.
Wow, asante sana, Dan, as always, very, 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 wanasema fire. Naona nimeangalia hizo calls hapa, wanasema leo imekuwa fire sana. Lakini Dan ameleta brigade ya other presenters ambao wote wameonesha ukwasi wao. I think hakuna lingine la kusema isipokuwa ni kusema asante sana Dan kwa kukubali kuja tena, na najua tutakuita tena na tena topic ambazo kwamba zitakuwa zinashabihiana na uwezo wako. Kwa hivyo usitunyime nafasi ya kuja tena, na wale kina director Hassan, kina Madam President, tafadhali msichoke kuja, manake mnaeka ladha katika platform. Niseme tu asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki. Have a lovely night. We love you so much. Till we meet again Tuesday next week. Adios.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Asante sana. Dan